afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my good buddy Jason. How's it going, dude?
Pretty good, man. It's a pretty good week of football, huh?
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know why I got a tickle in my throat, but yeah. Games I thought that wouldn't be competitive were pretty competitive.
Yeah, especially the Thursday night one.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that one was going to go the way it did, of course, because of, what.
Yeah, no, we'll hop into it, but real quick, don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at ASC Pods. You can find our entire catalog on B Plus Player Radio. Find them on Twitter, at B Plus Radio. And don't forget to check out our sponsors over at Too Sweet Magazine. Find them on Twitter, at 2TOO Sweet Mag. All right, we'll get right into it. Like you said, Thursday night, probably, if not the upset of the week, one of the upsets of the week. The Cowboys beating the Saints 13-10.
Nobody expected this to be a 13-10 game. There's no way. And if someone says they did, they're a liar. I mean, it was shocking to me how dominant Dallas's defense was for pretty much this 60 minutes. They basically dominated the Saints offense for 60 minutes, and it's weird, I didn't see it coming, but as we talked about before, the Thursday games can be very weird. You can have things happen in those games that you don't necessarily expect to happen because of the short rest and everything, and because of it's just two teams that are playing in 3 days, 3 days rest that can have a weird. Actually, Dallas didn't play in 3 days rest, but maybe that might be why they
had a full week of rest. I was going to say that. Yeah. Or the Saints had just been on such a roll that they were due for a stinker.
Yeah, remember, I think it was after the game, not too long after the game, I brought up how last year the Eagles were on a major roll, and they went into Seattle, and Seattle beat the Eagles up pretty good in that game. And Seattle really didn't do much, I think, the rest of the year. So, games like that, when a team is on a roll and they're playing on the road at a team that, Dallas needed that win way more than the Saints. Saints don't really need
and they
that
were
win.
Up for that game.
Yeah, the Saints are fighting for home field, but, you still have 4 or 5 weeks to go for that. But the Cowboys just looked like from the start that they had a jump on the Saints. They outplayed them, and I didn't think it would happen that way. I thought if Dallas beat them, Dallas's offense would have to go huge, and Dallas's offense did not. I mean, Dak was very efficient, and Elliott's gonna do his thing, but they just ran through them, man. Their defense just ran through the Saints' offense.
It was a shocker. Yeah, and Dak got bailed out late in that game by Drew Brees throwing a pick.
Yeah.
Because, that game could have went either way, but it was a fun game regardless.
Yeah, it was weird. That's I guess that's the word I could say about the game. Yeah, it was a very weird game, and I mean Dallas now has 4 wins in a row, and they're a game up in the NFC East right now, and they're looking like they're probably, with the schedule that's to go, the 4 games remaining for the teams that are in that hunt in the NFC East, Dallas definitely has the edge. With a game up in their schedule, they have an edge in that division.
I agree. All right. Next, we have the Ravens going into Atlanta and beating the Falcons 26-16.
This was another defensive performance. The Ravens defense did pretty much what they wanted to do against the Falcons offense. I actually saw a stat where Matt Ryan only threw for 131 yards. That's the lowest total yardage in a game for him since 2011.
And they jinxed him because we got that game here. And
Yeah.
I'm watching the beginning, you know, like they'll give a little stat to like each player or whatever to open the game. And they go, Matt Ryan has thrown for at least 250 yards in every game this year.
Well, he got just over half of that in Sunday's game.
Yeah, they gave him the bad juju.
Yeah, the Saints. The Saints. I'm thinking about the Saints though. The Falcons' offense was very stagnant in this game.
Yeah, they
I would
couldn't
say
do anything.
Yeah, they didn't do much of anything in this game. This was basically like this was like they scored late, right? I think to Ryan Hooper, it was a late touchdown, and this was very much the Ravens game to lose from the start because their defense put them in a position where they didn't even have to do too much to win. Like Lamar Jackson he didn't do anything through the air. The Edwards kid had a pretty good game. He didn't keep his 100-yard streak alive. Jackson ran the ball for 75 yards. It was one of those games where you look at it and it was 26-16 and you kind of wonder, like, where did the Ravens get those 26 points from, you know? But they still scored them and they won, and they're back like right in the thick of things in the AFC playoff race now.
Because they desperately needed that win.
Yeah, they had to have it. They had to have it. And the next game I think you're going to do is one of the reasons why they had to have it.
Yes. All right. Excuse me. Speaking of which, Denver goes into Cincinnati and beats the Bengals 24-10.
Yeah, this game pretty much went the way I expected it to go because the Bengals were missing Andy Dalton and AJ Green, they're
and he went down with a quote non-contact injury in this game.
Yeah, the Bengals probably, I think their coaching staff should probably start packing their stuff. I don't exactly think they're gonna be back after this season. I think at this point with them, unlike another team that we'll get into soon, I think at this point you just let that coaching staff ride the season out because you don't really have a team that's going to compete right now with your stars being out.
Yeah.
Just let them finish the season, and then I think they have to almost start a rebuild because...
Oh, absolutely. If I were them, because Dalton has a option at the end of the season, I would get rid of him, start all over.
Yeah, the other way you can look at it, though, is do you pick up his option and then bring in a kid quarterback and let the kid, have a year? I mean,
that's fair.
There's ways. I mean, I don't think either way is right or wrong.
The only reason I bring it up is because he doesn't have any guaranteed money left.
Yeah, so he can go. They can get rid of him. So that's, in the NFL, that's the kiss of death. Hey, the big thing in this game, too, that stood out to me is that the Phillip Lindsay, that kid is really, really starting to put together a season.
Yeah, he's going to be special.
Yeah, he had 157 yards and 2 touchdowns again on Sunday. He just looks like he's fast, and even though he's kind of small, he's strong. And I really like watching him run the football. And he's a good story, too, Basically, he's undrafted. Undrafted, playing for his home team, wearing his like the guy he loved, his hero's number, Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
He's just a kid, man, that I think you have to keep an eye out for, as maybe being one of those big NFL stories where he comes out of nowhere and he's a star, because at this point he's a Pro Bowler, I would think. I guess he's got to get a little bit of votes for Rookie of the Year.
I would think so. I'm agreeing with what Rob's saying in our chat. He thinks that Denver's coach saved his job.
Yeah. Well, he said he thinks he's starting to become safe. I see that. I agree that if they finish over 500, you're going to have trouble firing him. At 6-6 right now, they have games coming up, too, that they can win. I was looking at their schedule, and their schedule is very favorable for them, too.
I agree with his other statement, too, that he thinks a lot of quarterbacks might be traded in the offseason due to the weak draft class.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You're going to see a lot of teams going in league to get quarterbacks. That's a very fair point. Is there who else is there?
What, to be traded?
Yeah, like Eli would be a guy who possibly could be moved, but I mean, with the, like you're saying, with the weak draft class, though, where do they go from there? You know,
Yeah,
it's rough. Getting back to Denver real quick, San Francisco, Cleveland, and Oakland are their next 3 games. All games that they should win.
yeah,
So we'll see.
I agree with that. All right, moving right along, we have the Rams eventually pulling away and beating the Lions and clinching the NFC West 30-16.
Yeah, you just took my first note about that game.
My bad.
No, it's fine. The clinch. Hey, the Lions hung in here a little better than I expected, man. I thought this game was gonna get really out of control early. Like I was thinking, like halftime. Maybe earlier in the second half we might not see a couple of the stars from the Rams, but this game was 13-3 at the half, and then after the third it was 16-13 Rams. So they had a third quarter or a fourth quarter where they had to maybe they underestimated it. Maybe they kind of like a sleepwalk, I guess you would say, and then finally they had to wake up and realize, well, we're getting pushed here. And Gurley really stepped up too. He ended up with 132 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So, he had a Todd Gurley day. They, like you said, though, they clinched
the West.
They clinched the West with 11-1, and they're the team right now that they're in the driver's seat to be the home field advantage in the NFC right now with 1 loss. Even though their loss was to the Rams are at 2 losses now. So that game where the Saints beat them is right now it's erased.
Yeah, basically. They're in the driver's seat. They just got to handle their business. All right, let's see here. We'll keep it going since there wasn't too much on that one. This actually might be the upset of the week. Arizona going into Green Bay and beating the Packers 20-17.
I'll go with the Cowboys over the Rams still, but I mean, because the Packers now are a 4-7-1 team. This game was actually Arizona's first win in Lambeau Field ever.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I say it was the win of the week is because Arizona was just so bad this year.
No, I agree. I agree with you with that one. I mean, it's a game where nothing in this game stands out. Like I watched some of it on Red Zone, as much as they show you on there. And I looked at the stats and I looked at anything to see. And the only thing I could come up with that's newsworthy from this game now after the Lambeau thing is Mike McCarthy being fired after the game. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this. It felt a lot like Andy Reid's tenure toward the end with McCarthy.
Yeah, it's very similar to what you see from a lot of coaches, man. Like, they probably hung on to him too long. Like, he probably should have been out of there a couple years ago, maybe. That's just me throwing that idea out there. I'm not sure if it's correct or not. Another thing with this team is they're getting old. Like, they're not the youngest team anymore. They get beat up a lot for some reason. Like, can you think of a team over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years? Can you think of a team who's had more offensive line injuries than the Packers?
You're right.
It seems like every time they get something solid in front of Rodgers, it's gone.
Well, and you could tell him and McCarthy had a very contentious relationship.
Yeah. They're just that is Aaron Rodgers' football team. I mean, they gave him that deal, And I saw the report come out the other day, maybe yesterday. It said that Rodgers won't be involved in the head coaching. So
I say bull.
I say bull too. I don't believe that there's any way they don't let him say, this guy, or this guy.
I agree with you. But, hey, kudos to the Cardinals for going in there and finding a way to win.
Yeah. McCarthy to the Browns, someone in the chat said. I'm not sure who that is.
That's Dean.
That's Dean. Yeah, I thought that was Dean. Okay. I just didn't want to.
Yeah, no.
McCarthy to the Browns is definitely a rumor that's already starting to swirl. If I was Cleveland, I would go elsewhere, man. I would look for something new.
Before we switch, Rob in our chat said he thinks Green Bay would make a run at Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. I mean, if what, like, he also said that about the lack of like hot coordinators right now.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if that's what, a lot of people believe is going to be the narrative coming into this new off season, then you're
gonna see a bunch of retreads.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be so much retreads, because I honestly think what he said about Riley, I think like he's gonna get offers. And there's already the rumor out there that Green Bay is interested in him. I think he's peaked now. We'll see what he does with Oklahoma in the playoff. I don't think Oklahoma's beating Alabama on the 29th.
Way.
But, I mean, it's possible that he gets a more attractive job, one of them being in Cleveland. Like, he's definitely going to be a candidate in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he has a tie to Cleveland, obviously.
Baker Mayfield.
Yes. So we'll see, but I think you have Riley out there. You have obviously DiFilippo with the Vikings. You have I'm trying to think of another coordinator. There's got to be a coordinator on the Rams and Saints staff at this point that somebody's going to want.
Oh, there's the one. He's not a coordinator. But the one guy that's the secondary coach for Dallas, I keep hearing a lot of noise about.
Yeah, I mean, right now the way Dallas' defense is performing and the way that they've seemed to fill that defense quickly with star players, meaning Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, and what they've done. I think you're gonna have an emergence of hot coordinators. So Right now, it's hard to say what coordinators are hot and what aren't, because going back to last year at this point, did anybody really, really, really talk about Frank Reich and DiFilippo as being like huge coaching,
No.
candidates? They really didn't. Frank Reich was basically he basically fell into that coach job after what McDaniels did. So I would wait until you get probably like right at the edge of the playoffs, and then you'll start seeing the emergence of different coordinators and not even coordinators, but just even position coaches and like quality control coaches are going to start being rumored.
Yep.
It's still a little early because you still have teams such as the Ravens and the Broncos, and I'm trying to think of a couple more teams that you might see.
Steelers.
Yeah, I don't think Tomlin's going anywhere. I mean, like, who might fire their head coach.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Carolina, you got to look out for Ron Rivera, because they're falling apart, and they seem to do it every year now for the last 3 years since they made the Super Bowl. They've kind of had that like falling off. So Tampa Bay. So you're going to have teams that you don't know what the coaching openings are going to be, so you really don't know what's going to be what, and who's going to be available yet.
No, I agree with that.
We just went way long on that subject.
No, it's
or
fine.
I did.
All right, we'll keep it rolling. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, we have the Texans keeping their streak going, extending it to 9, and beating Cleveland 29-13.
Yeah, Texans, man. Right now, they're really starting to look like a a contender out there. And remember, I've been saying for weeks now that there's going to be a surprise team, not such a surprise, but a team that's going to come out of into the playoffs and is going to be the upset team, the team that's going to upset Kansas City or New England. And Houston, I pegged it kind of like as like maybe the Steelers end up doing it, and I think you even said Houston early on when they started to kick it into gear, and now they're looking like that team. Like they're looking like the kind of team now because offensively, they seem to finally have more than they had before. They have a little bit more to get over that hump, I think, right now with the way Deshaun Watson has played with two prime time receivers in DeAndre Hopkins and Demaryius Thomas, with a running back that, even though he's not a big flashy name in Lamar Miller, he's a good runner. Like as we saw in that one game, he can really run.
Well,
he can bust one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
what I was going to say is the other thing I noticed with them is they're just like throttling teams now, where earlier they would like let teams hang around and get like a lucky break or something. Now they're just beating teams badly.
Yeah, they're the kind of team now that's, like you just said, they're putting it together. And when a team does that, they usually do it right about now. But they've really started it, I think, a couple weeks early. I hope they don't run out of gas going down the stretch, because they're a team they're a likable team to me. I kind of like JJ Watt. He's a good guy and everything. They have some guys on that team that I like. So I would like to see Bill O'Brien have some success past the regular season too, because he kind of gets shit on because he's another one of those failing Belichick coordinators, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're a team that really could be that Philadelphia Eagles of 2018. And I don't know, I always say the Eagles, obviously, because that's a team we know the most and we've seen.
Yeah, that they went on a run and got hot and won the title.
Yeah, and if you were to ask me right now if the Texans could do it, coming out of the AFC, absolutely, because I think they have the defense that can slow down the Chiefs enough. Because look, we'll get into that game later, but the Chiefs' defense is proving that they cannot stop anyone.
Nope.
They can't. So we're going to see going forward if they're a good enough team to put it together offensively and defensively. Right now, I say yes, because coming out of the AFC, you may not have to, beat a team that's going to have a really good defense, because the Steelers' defense is not really that good.
It's suspect.
The Chargers' defense is not that great. The Patriots are the Patriots. Their defense, you saw what can happen to them in a playoff game last year. But we'll see.
No, I agree with that. Excuse me, my allergies are kicking. All right, moving on. This was the weird one of the week for me. Jacksonville beating the Colts 6-0.
Yeah, this is I just saw the stat on that. 6 points scored, the fewest in the NFL in a game since 2007. So this was an 11-year historical type of bad football
11
game.
years in the making.
Yeah, 11 years in the making, and I hope next time it takes about 50 years, because I don't want to see another game like this.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was just like Jacksonville's defense decided to show up.
Yeah, it's weird because they showed up for two quarters against or 3 quarters against the Steelers, and this week they decided 4 quarters was the best bet.
Yeah, but there wasn't really a lot to talk about with this one, so we'll keep it moving.
Oh, one sec though. I want to see how many times did what's his name, did Luck get sacked in this game?
Oh, I didn't look.
Ooh, he took 3 sacks this week, so
they got caught up.
Yeah, there you go. There was nothing there. Nothing in this game. Yeah.
Let's
Sorry.
see. No, you're good. Next, we have Miami coming from behind and beating the Bills 21-17.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill came back and showed that he still can lead the Dolphins to a good victory, I guess.
Yeah.
What are they now? The record there? 6-6, so they're right on the playoff bubble. Then Tannehill had 3 touchdown passes. Josh Allen had a combined good game here. He had 231 throwing for 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for 135 yards.
Holy shit!
That just tells you where their offense was. It was basically just him. So, Buffalo. They're done. I mean, they're 4-8. They're done.
They need offensive help.
Yeah, they definitely do. I personally, he's a kid that I obviously liked, through the draft and everything. I think they have their future at quarterback. So I think now it's time to try to get him some weapons, and they desperately need a big receiving weapon for him. They need a number 1 receiver for him. So
I agree.
We'll see if maybe they go out.
Yeah. One quick stat with this game, Frank Gore is now, I think it was either 12 or 13 yards away from passing Barry Sanders as number 3 all-time in rushing yards.
There you go. So Frank Gore's gonna push old Barry down the list, but we talked about this before. You give Barry another 4 or 5 years in the NFL.
He would have pulled a Jerry Rice.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Barry Sanders.
Me and Lance were talking about this last night. He's like, when I told him, he goes, "Wow." He's like, he's probably the most underrated running back ever.
I can't disagree. I think my audio might get a little hollow right here for a second. I don't disagree. I'm saying I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think I said I disagree. I don't disagree. Frank Gore has been the model of consistency in the NFL. Consistency and durability are 2 words, I think, when Frank Gore eventually goes into the Hall of Fame. They should put that on his bust. Just engrave it somewhere on there. Consistent and durable.
What's crazy is he might have 1,000-yard season this year.
Yeah, he is like the Iron Man of the NFL. Like Brett Favre was the Iron Man of the NFL.
But yeah, I know what you mean for a running back.
Yeah, for a running back, a guy who gets hit on basically every play he's on the field, he's gonna get hit because he's either gonna get hit by a guy he's trying to block, he's gonna get hit by a guy who when he's running, or he's going to take contact when he, does block a guy. So one way or another, running backs are usually going to get hit on every play they're in on.
All right, let's keep it going. We have the Giants upsetting the Bears 30-27 in overtime.
It's an upset on paper. I kind of like anytime Chase Daniel is at quarterback, I think all bets are off.
You got a fighting chance.
Yeah. He didn't play bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and act like Chase Daniel was Matt Barkley. Oh, I can't say that now because Barkley had a huge game recently. I'm not going to say Chase Daniel is like the Ryan Leaf.
Or Matt Leinart.
Yeah, there you go. There's a good one. But he had a pretty good game. These are the games if you're the Bears. If Trubisky is going to get hurt, it's good that it's now, because you're getting these games out of the way, and now you have a division that you're playing for.
And they got a huge game we're going to talk about in a little bit coming up.
Yes. The Giants, when their coach doesn't stop using Barkley, they look really good. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
not
they
Matt
won
Barkley.
3 out of the last 4.
Yeah, their only loss being a game that I think they threw away in the second half by not running the ball with Barkley.
Yeah.
Beckham, by the way, looked really good. Nice touchdown pass from Beckham in this game.
It might have been better and the funny part is he has more 40-plus yard TD passes this year than Eli.
That's not surprising. Because Eli is, I don't know. What do you say about Eli? Guy's got 2 rings, but...
He's in the twilight of his career.
Could you imagine if Peyton would have gone out in the NFL with less rings than Eli Manning? How crazy that would have been. I think it's criminal. I think it's criminal that they have the same amount of rings.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like, let me ask you this. This goes off a little bit, a little sidetrack. Do you think Eli makes the Hall of Fame when he retires?
Honestly, I say yes, and people will probably get mad when I say this, but because he's a Manning than for his stats.
No, it's a good it's a fair point. I mean, the 2 rings help. He's had some big years too, man. Like as much as we look at it, he still had a better career than Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah,
And Bradshaw is, and people act like Terry Bradshaw is
really
like a
great
god
player.
quarterback. Yeah, I mean, hey, to each their own. But
I agree with Lance. The 2 rings is what's going to get him in.
Yeah, it'll definitely, and his performance in those games too also is a feather in the cap. Even though David Tyree probably made one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history, Eli still put the ball there. He could have thrown it 5 yards short for an interception like he does a lot, but he didn't.
No.
So what are you gonna do?
That was before he turned into bad Eli.
Listen, this is the way I put it. I say this to a couple people before. It only takes one great throw to become a legend in the NFL.
And he did it.
And yeah, it only takes one great game to be a legend in the NFL. I mean, Nick Foles.
Yeah.
I mean, Foles has had some great games,
But he did it
Minnesota
at the
game.
biggest stage, yeah.
Yeah, the Minnesota game, he had a great game. But,
No, I agree with you. Maybe the Giants are hurting their stock and getting a good draft pick in the long run. And I know you shouldn't tank, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep it rolling. We have the Bucks upsetting Carolina 24-17.
Hold on. Dean said in the chat, how dare I compare Eli to Bradshaw? I'm not comparing Eli to Bradshaw. I said Eli's better than Bradshaw. I'm not comparing the two. Bradshaw didn't lose a Super Bowl, but let me tell you who else didn't lose a Super Bowl. The Steel Curtain. And Franco Harris didn't lose a Super Bowl.
That's funny.
Oh, sorry.
Man.
Go ahead.
No, we were talking about Tampa going and beating Carolina 24-17.
Carolina's nosedive is in full effect, huh?
Yeah.
Listen. Cam Newton threw 4 interceptions in this game. 3 of them were picked off by Andrew Adams, which was
That's kind of weird. You usually never see that.
Yeah. Rob just said, and I agree, I had this written down too. Jameis Winston had a good game. Really good game.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Carolina now is they're right on that bubble where they're in deep trouble. Basically, they went from almost looking like a lock 3 to 4 weeks ago, to being in super trouble now.
Yeah, because they're out now.
Yeah, they're right with the Eagles now.
Yeah.
They actually have the step on the Eagles right now, I think, because of the conference.
Because of the tiebreaker.
Right? Oh, yeah, it is the tiebreaker because they have the same conference record. I got you there, yeah.
Well, they have the head-to-head.
Yeah, see, this doesn't make sense, though, because Washington is 6-4 in the conference, and they have them behind them in the standings. So Washington actually is the number one. They would be behind. What would they be behind? This playoff thing is real weird that I'm looking at. So it's the first 2 teams get the bye, and then 4 teams after play each other in the first round. So Minnesota actually is the first team out right now because they have that tie.
Yeah.
And Seattle, Dallas. Oh, no. Carolina. So Washington is the first team out.
Okay.
Because it's the Bears, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Vikings right now are the 4. And then you have the Panthers, Eagles, Redskins at 6-6. And the Panthers and Carolina or Washington has the better conference record.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's the Redskins.
I know it's weird.
That's not going to last, obviously. We'll get into that.
Yeah. But no, Newton and them, they're just a mess right now.
Yeah, Rob just said he sees North Turner replacing Ron Rivera. I don't disagree with that. I honestly think Norv Turner is going to get some looks at for that Cleveland job, man.
Yeah.
Because he runs that offense that would be good to have Baker Mayfield, get him a veteran offensive coach like that. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. All right. Next, we have the Chiefs beating the Raiders in a shootout, 40-33.
yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier with the Chiefs defense. Will it stop anyone?
No.
If you get a good team in the playoffs, I think they're a good offensive team. I think they're going to throw up some points on the Chiefs. And if they throw a little defense, as I've been saying for weeks, if you throw a little bit of defense at the Chiefs, who knows? Yep, Houston, they got to look out. Houston might be the team. It might be their kryptonite. What was the big stuff in this game? Mahomes' 7th game of the year with 4 or more touchdown passes. Like, how do you stop that?
Kelsey with a huge game.
Yeah, Derek Carr with a big game.
Yeah, him, Jordy Nelson, and Cook both had big games.
Yeah, the Raiders' offense really showed up this week, but, I mean, your defense is going to have a world of trouble stopping Mahomes in that offense.
Well, they had 3 turnovers in this game. If they would have took care of the ball, they might have beat them.
Yeah, I agree. That's 100%. Because the Chiefs are going to get points off of turnovers when you give them the ball. So you have to reduce those. Basically, you want to just totally cut them out and not have any. I guess another big thing about this game that we got to talk about is Kareem Hunt's off the field issues.
Yeah.
Just read today now there's 2 other incidents that he's being investigated for. So
well, then he's done.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt, his NFL life may be done. We'll see. I mean, I saw the video. Listen, just don't stop putting your hands on women. It's as simple as that. If people have issues with these players getting suspended and stuff for it, it's easy. Just stop hitting women.
I'm about to say, don't do something stupid.
Yeah, it's as easy as that. Like, how do you prevent Kareem Hunt's situation? Don't hit the woman.
Yeah.
Don't. It's easy. I mean, I guess, some people come from different backgrounds. Some people have different, respect for the other opposite sex or whatever. And, it's rough, I guess, on some people. It's not rough for us, but.
I agree, though, if you're, like, contrite and, everyone deserves a second chance. But if you've got, like, you're just telling me there's 2 or 3 others out there that this has happened, then you don't deserve a second chance.
Here's another thing, too, that I wanted to just talk about for 1 second. Just a second here. I believe the Redskins set a terrible precedent when they picked up Reuben Foster.
Yep.
According to the Redskins sources, there's a different story behind what happened with Reuben Foster.
Yeah, remember they said that last night on Monday Night Football? Get out of here.
And Jason Witten had a very, inspired, very, very great point when he, said shame on the Redskins for picking him up. Shame on them. You let the player be cleared before you pick him up. It's like they're going to say, hey, we're just going to get this guy and stash him. If he hit the woman or he did this, we'll just get rid of him. But, before anything else, though, we just want to make sure we get this player. And that's a very Daniel Snyder type of thing. It's very dirty and it's very just
scummy.
Yeah, and it fits the Redskins.
I agree. Like Lance just said, and I couldn't agree with him more. Hunt's apology video, as he puts in quotations, was so fake.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I don't want to hear nothing from the guy. I saw the video of what he did, and that's the only video I need to see. So
I agree. Well, let me put it to you this way. Nobody went that it's serious when no one claimed him.
Yeah, and they know too. Like, it just so happens to come out the day after he's not claimed that there's 2 other incidents, that one being in January. So this guy hit women in back-to-back months. Come on.
The thing that angers me, and I don't know if it's been, and then we'll move on. I don't know if it's 100% proven, but I had read that the league and the Chiefs knew that this happened like back then and did nothing about it.
Well, there's like that other rumor going around that they weren't able to get their hands on the video, so they can't substantiate that it happened. Which, if that's the case, then you kind of have to give them a little pass, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can't listen as much as I say just get rid of a guy who hits a woman like that. You can't be trigger happy. You have to make sure he really did hit a guy, because when you have notoriety, you know, and stardom and stuff like an NFL player, there's going to be people who are going to try to take advantage of him.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying that every player is innocent or guilty. It's a case-to-case thing. He's definitely guilty. We saw the video, but until you see that video, such as I'm trying to think of a case to bring up. Okay, here's a good example. It goes to another type of sport. Enzo Amore was accused. Comes out that he's innocent. He's still an asshole. I mean, but he didn't do what they said he did.
Yeah.
He lost his job for another reason, but you know, you can't take everything for the word. You can't take, you know, someone's word can only hold so much weight.
Yeah.
But video evidence is damning, and Kareem Hunt should be damned.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. We'll keep it moving. We have Tennessee coming from behind and beating the Jets 26-22.
Yeah, this is another
stinker.
Chalk it up as like a stinker type of game. The Tyrod Taylor, whatever, that receiver they have, had a good game, and that was pretty good for him. Career high receiving game.
They're such a weird team, the Titans.
They're a rookie coach team. I think that plays a big part in it. Their starting quarterback, their franchise quarterback, has injury issues a lot. They're a weird, like you said. They're just. I don't know what the Titans are. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know. I don't. Week to week, there's trouble in there.
Yeah, we'll move on from that because there's not really a lot to say. All right, next we have the Patriots at home beating New England. The Vikings 24-10.
The Vikings, man, another team that. Listen, I guess the Vikings are a playoff team right now. They don't deserve to be. That's the way I'll put it.
They're by default.
Right now in the NFC, I think there's about 4 teams that don't deserve to make the playoffs that are probably going to make it. Dallas is not one of them. I honestly, I hate to say it, but the Cowboys deserve their playoff spot right now. They've played like a playoff team lately.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't want them to make the playoffs, but
it is what it is. They play
like a playoff team. But there are some teams that are in the playoffs, like the Vikings are a team that doesn't deserve a playoff spot. I hate to say, I hate to sound rude or biased or whatever. I'm not. Obviously, of what I just said about the Cowboys, I'm not biased. But I don't think that the Vikings should be in the playoffs. I'm not sure they're going to make it. They probably will, just because you're going to get like a couple other teams that are on the bubble are going to fall back. Like I think the Eagles might have maybe another win or 2 at the most in them, because I don't see them beating the Texans, Rams, and probably won't beat the Cowboys. The Redskins, they'll probably end up beating again, but it's rough, man. With this game, I think you're starting to see like Kirk Cousins he's not a primetime quarterback. I don't think he will be there. They gave him way too much money.
They were desperate.
Obviously, way too much guaranteed money. The Vikings could have kept Case Keenum, and they would have stayed parallel at quarterback, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Patriots are one of those teams, man. Sony Michel is back. He looked okay. Like, they didn't do anything great in the ground game. Hey, Tom Brady's 1,000-yard rusher now. It only took him 16 years. But yeah, the Patriots they grind you, man. Like you saw with this game, they're gonna grind you out, and since they're a well-coached team, they're very disciplined at times. I think the Patriots are going to walk into the playoffs like they do every year, it seems like. And this game just started to show that they're 9-3 now. I think they're going to start turning that corner toward January, which they always tend to do.
Yep. I agree with that. And the Vikings just wilted as this game went on.
Yeah, they're not like they're missing a couple players here and there too. They're definitely like as much as you can look at some of those teams, the Jaguars, the Eagles, the Vikings also are not the 2017 Vikings. Not even close.
No way. All right, moving on, we have Seattle decimating the 49ers 43-16.
Oh, here's a team. Seattle, I think, is starting to deserve a playoff spot. It's good that we went to this game because I was trying to think of the other teams in the NFC that I think deserve to get that wild card. I think Seattle's starting to become one of them. They hung in there with the Rams, so they showed that they can,
go blow for blow with them.
Yeah, they did. It was them, right? They hung in with the Rams a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my memory's getting bad. Don't mind me.
You're fine.
They obviously beat up a bad team this week, beat them up pretty good. So they're another team that I think you have to start looking at and saying, maybe they go on a nice little run and, they're 7-5 right now. I'm not 100% sure about their schedule, but maybe they're a team that ends up, being dangerous. Like we were talking about Houston, maybe Seattle is that type of team. We know they can run the ball, so they can keep the ball out of good offensive hands. So, well, we'll see. I think their downfall, though, is going to be their passing game. I don't think they have enough weapons to go up against a really good defense or a really good team that scores. I don't think they're going to score.
Interesting to see as things balance out, but I won't count out Russell Wilson with his Houdini bullshit that he pulls off.
Hey, that dude, man, like he's got a ring. He should have 2 rings. He wins football games. He's not a big quarterback. I wouldn't say he's overly skilled. Like he's not like a serious, like amazing quarterback, but what he does very, very well.
It's like Sandlot football almost.
Yeah, it's like Patrick Mahomes. They match up Deshaun Watson, like at times Carson Wentz. They match up like that, and as long as he's not on his back and he's got a ball in his hand, he's got a chance to win the football game.
Yep, couldn't agree more. All right, moving on. This was another interesting one. The Chargers charging from behind and beating the Steelers 33-30.
Yeah, the Chargers gifted a touchdown, and it turned the whole game around for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know.
That officiating crew is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Lance said that Seattle... Sorry, I'll go back to this 1 second. He said Seattle plays the Vikings, the Niners, the Chiefs, and Cardinals. They can go 3-1 right there and finish 10-6.
Yep.
And I actually want to see them play the Chiefs because I want to see what their defense can do against that Chiefs offense.
Yeah,
even though they don't have that Legion of Boom defense anymore. But,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The Steelers took their foot off the gas pedal in this game.
Yeah, this is a rough loss for the Steelers, man. I mean, it's the difference between 8-3 and 7-4 and 1. The tie's still there with them, but it's man, I like it just all goes back to that blown call that turned into the touchdown for the Chargers. Like that, the game looked so much different until that touchdown.
Yeah. It was just a weird game because Pittsburgh got called for like 3 straight offsides at the end of the game.
Yeah, that dude that guy, he really, really wanted to block that field goal, didn't he? Yeah. Well, he did one time. Unfortunately, though, he got there about 5 yards too fast. That game broke down weird at the end. Like, it got weird. It was almost like, let's maybe if we can keep getting offsides, they'll just decide that we don't lose this game.
Yeah, It was just weird, but credit to Rivers and them, man, for battling and, finding a way to get it done.
Yeah, look, Rivers he's starting to look like a Rivers that, I've always been a critic of Rivers. I don't think he can win the big game. I honestly still don't until he does it. I won't think he can. But as a team, they're starting to look like they might win something. And this week they even did it without their big running back,
Yep.
So why is their running back's name slipping my mind right now?
Melvin Gordon.
Shoot, that was weird. Yeah, Keenan Allen had a huge game. Mike Williams had a decent game. Travis Benjamin had a decent game. Austin Eckler had a okay, game catching the ball or whatever. He didn't do much other than that. The Justin Jackson kid ran the ball decent. Maybe give him more carries if Gordon can't go, because he ran the ball much better than Eckler. But you have to just look at it like how I go back to it, man. How big though was that botched call? Like, what happens if they don't get that touchdown on that play?
Yeah.
Do the Steelers get the ball back? And is it what was the score at that time? Do you remember?
They were up at
13,
least a
right?
touchdown.
I think it was 13-0 or 10.
Maybe 10-0.
It was 13-0 at the time. But man, it's just that's like, crazy, right?
That hurts because the Steelers have a brutal schedule down the stretch.
Yeah, it's a tough loss, man.
Because Dean put in the chat, they have Raiders, Patriots, Saints, Bengals.
Yeah, that's 2-2. They're going to make the playoffs because they're going to beat the Raiders. They're going to beat the Bengals. Patriots and Saints. The past Steelers team, I think, would beat one of them going into the playoffs. I don't know if this team is going to do it. As you said, you told me earlier too. James Conner's out against the Raiders, right?
Ankle injury.
Oh, and with a running back too, that can keep that can snowball. That one game could turn into 2 or 3 because of a running back has to have his ankles.
Yeah, it's hang on a second. I'll tell you the guy. I just read it. Jalen Samuels and Stephen Ridley will split carries.
Yuck. Yuck.
But if you want to have it against any team, let it be the Raiders.
Yeah, just throw the ball 50 times with Big Ben and Antonio Brown and Juju and all those guys, and they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right, and last but certainly not least, last night, the Eagles beating the Redskins 28-13.
Yeah, it feels good. 2 wins in a row for the Birds. What the hell? What the hell's gotten into them?
That's why it was cold out this morning.
Oh yeah, it is funny how the weather got real cold. Overnight, we got like a cold front. Man, I don't know. Like this game, look, if you look at this game, the Eagles defense played really well in this game. They played really well against Mark Sanchez. Colt McCoy started off pretty good. He was 4 for 4 for 50 yards, and then he broke his leg, which was very unfortunate.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kid because he finally gets a break, no pun intended, to be a starter, and then he breaks his leg.
So you mean I shouldn't say that he has a very fractured career up to now? I'm sorry. No, I do. I feel I feel bad for him. Like, I feel bad. The Redskins look like they were in the driver's seat, man, to win the NFC East, and then all of a sudden it's like
everybody gets hurt.
They're in deep trouble. A couple things stood out to me. Eagles defense basically one play away from having the best game of the year, and it was the 90-yard touchdown run by Adrian Peterson, which was a pretty big play.
I'll give them this. After that, they didn't let him get to 100 yards.
No, he actually only had 8 yards on his other 8 carries. So he averaged 1 yard per carry other than the 90-yard run. So he got it all out of his system in one play. Eagles defense was good. I mean, you had guys that, who the hell knows who half these guys are, like I call Crawfish LeBlanc or whatever, Trayvon LeBlanc. I don't know. Um, they got it done against obviously a shorthanded, Redskins team.
I told you this last night. Credit to the Redskins though, because they battled hard to the very end.
Yeah, they tried their hardest. They tried their hardest. They just they're Josh Norman's not playing the football that he should be playing. They obviously have quarterback issues. Their offensive line they lost another offensive lineman last night, so I think that's 4 guys that started now on their offensive line.
The guy tore his bicep, I heard.
Cooper, right? Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
They're just a mess. We talked about this. The other thing, Wentz was too inconsistent.
Yeah, he started off he made a lot of good throws last night, but there was some throws in there. I'll just point out a few. Obviously, the interception was terrible. Terrible throw. Could have changed that game a lot, too. There was a couple more. He missed Aguilar on one that could have been a touchdown. Golden Tate, he completed one on the sideline, but if he throws the ball to the right spot, Golden Tate may have been running for a lot longer.
Yep.
I think there was another one to Goddard he overthrew where Goddard was wide open going down the sideline.
Ertz.
Another one to Ertz. No, it was Ertz and Goddard because remember,
yeah.
Ertz was early, Goddard was late. He's playing like a quarterback that had a major knee injury at times. And then other times he just hasn't looked. He looks like he's having the sophomore slump now instead of last year, where he came in last year and he had a major season before the injury.
Yeah.
Lance just said it looks like Tate's fitting in. Yeah, Tate looked a lot better last night, like light years ahead of where he looked against the other games against the Giants and the Cowboys and whatnot. He definitely looks better.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, before we make our picks for Week 14, you want to know how we did?
Bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
We tied.
Oh, another. Can one of us get any separation?
Yeah, we both had 8 losses.
Oof, man.
Yeah, I went oofa.
Well, I know I lost. I lost the Pittsburgh game. I'm sure of. Right?
Yes.
Because I'm definitely I
that
pick
one, the Saints game.
100% lost that one. That's definite.
Hang on, I'll look at it real quick. The Saints game, the Falcons, the Packers, the Colts, the Bills, the Bears, the Panthers.
Wow.
And so on.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a bad week. So we'll try and do better. So here's a fun one. Thursday night,
promises.
Jacksonville traveling to Tennessee.
Oh my God! Can we get a flex schedule right now? Can they flex the Thursday night game off? I'll take Tennessee.
That's where I'm kind of leaning. Did you see what Dean said in the chat?
Yeah. Why would I deserve to have negative stuff for speaking the truth?
All right, moving right along, we have the Jets traveling to Buffalo.
I'll take Buffalo. I like Josh Allen. I think they'll win this game.
I do too, because the Jets look just like a mess right now. Here's another tough one. The Panthers traveling to Cleveland.
The Panthers in Cleveland? Wow. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a rough one. Ooh, sorry. I don't know if you heard that.
No, you're good.
I gotta stop drinking carbonated water while we're doing this. Panthers in Cleveland, huh? I'm gonna go with the Panthers because I think they got one more punch left in them this year, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going with the Panthers.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Browns. I don't know, just because what I've seen of the Panthers lately doesn't look very good.
All right, that gives us some separation, man. I
Yeah.
like that. So one of us is getting that win, and the other's not.
All right, next we have Atlanta traveling to Lambeau.
Atlanta traveling to Lambeau. Whew. Atlanta traveling to Lambeau.
I know that's another
Man.
tough one.
Yeah, man. I gotta go with the Packers. I think they're gonna rally around Philbin for the rest of this year. I think they're gonna win some games. A lot of those guys now with uncertainty in the head coaching spot, they're playing for jobs. So I think you're gonna get like a better performance out of them. I expect it to be a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Atlanta because Green Bay's been decimated with injuries on the defense, so I think Ryan and company could take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, hey, it makes
yeah.
another separation game.
All right. Next, we have the Colts traveling to Houston.
Colts going to Houston. I like the Texans in this one. I think
10 in a row.
Think they're rolling, man. Oh, 10 in a row. That's rough. You might have just made me pick the Colts. I think the Texans win this game. Relatively easy. I think their defense will shut down the Colts good enough to where their offense can, put up plenty enough points to win.
Yeah.
Definitely like Houston.
All right, here's another interesting one. The Ravens traveling to Kansas City.
Kansas City. No doubt. The Ravens don't have the defense to stop them. The Ravens don't have the offense to score. I think this game actually could be a little one-sided. Like the Chiefs might actually run this one up.
All right, I agree with you. I'm taking the Chiefs. Next, we have the Patriots traveling to Miami.
Patriots.
Yeah. They got on a roll. All right.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Saints traveling to Tampa.
The Saints are going to beat their ass.
Because they're mad.
Yeah, the Saints might score 50.
Yeah, they're not happy. All right. We have the Giants traveling to the Redskins.
The Giants and Oh, this is a rough one because I'm going Giants.
I like have to take the Giants just because I think Mark Sanchez is worse than Eli.
Yeah. Well, by far.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sanchez, right now.
Yeah, I mean, you Sanchez and Eli. I mean, you got I go Eli, Sanchez, and then Terry Bradshaw. That would be my 3 rankings.
Oh, man, that's funny.
That's a joke, by the way. I would never put a quarterback above Mark Sanchez.
All right, next we have the Bengals traveling...
Below Sanchez. I'm sorry. Yeah. I said that backwards.
I knew what you meant. The Bengals playing the Chargers.
The Bengals and Chargers. Chargers easy.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with you. Next, Broncos traveling to San Francisco.
Broncos going to San Fran, huh? I like Denver, man. I'm gonna ride that Broncos the bandwagon for a little while. I had them beating the Chargers a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think they're turning it on. I think the Broncos might get into the playoffs, man. They might sneak in.
Lance said, "What about Nathan Peterman? He's worse than Sanchez."
Oh man, that's rough. He might be right. Oh man, I don't know. Let's give Peterman some time. He hasn't had the body of work. And
he hasn't done a butt fumble.
No, there's still no butt fumble in there.
Oh man, all right.
Yeah, Peterman's worse than Sanchez. Sanchez has played some decent football in his career. Peterman hasn't at all.
Yeah. All right, next we have
Peterman. Hold on one second, real quick. Peterman is so bad that the interception pick six he threw to Houston has made them win 9 games in a row. He's propelled the Houston Texans to being one of the better teams in football.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Lions going to Arizona.
Jesus. Another one of these?
Yeah.
I'll go with the Lions. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Hey, listen, I forgot to point something out about that Lions game earlier. Kerryon Johnson was missed bad in that game by the Lions. If you watch, dude, they had like no like finesse or speed running game against the Rams.
He's a big part of what they do.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along, we have the Eagles traveling to Big D.
Yeah, listen, I'm taking Dallas. I'm sorry.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If Eagles fans listen to this, I apologize. You can throw tomatoes at me or whatever they do to people. Stones, I don't know. Biblical, you want to do that. But just listen. Right now,
they're the better team right now.
Right now, the Eagles are just not the Eagles. If you give me last year's Eagles against this Cowboys team, the Eagles are going to whoop their ass again. But Dallas will win this football game, and I have a feeling that this game couldn't. It's not going to be as close as the last time these two teams played. I think Dallas wins this game like 31-16 or 17. Honestly, 2-touchdown game.
Oh,
and
wow.
Hey, I love picking with my heart instead of my head, but I can't do it, man. I think Dallas is going to beat up on the Eagles. I can't see the Eagles stopping Ezekiel Elliott enough. They'll slow him down because that's just what the Eagles do. They do slow down good running backs.
Yeah.
But Dallas's offense, I think, with Amari Cooper is starting to evolve into just like a much better offense with him. Like he's turning into the playmaker that they traded for.
Yep.
And that Oakland drafted. So what I think ends up happening here is the Eagles are going to have, Dak is a mobile quarterback, so he gets away. Our secondary will not contain Dallas's wide receivers. Beasley and Cooper are going to have a very
field day.
A very good afternoon and evening against the Eagles secondary. That's the way I'll put it.
All right. Next, we have the Steelers traveling to Oakland.
The Steelers going to Oakland. Steelers easy. If I was Mike Tomlin, my play sheet right now, if you do colors, let's say red is pass or red is run and blue is pass, my play sheet would be all blue. Just throw the ball against Oakland and they'll have no trouble beating them. That's just the way I look at it. And if you need to run, you're running the second half when you have a 2 or 3 touchdown lead. But I don't think they're going to miss Connor at all in this game. I think their offense in the air with 2 of the better receivers in the NFL, obviously Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and they have the other kid, Washington, right? The young kid.
Yeah.
The tight ends good. The Steelers should just hit the air. They should just hit the ground throwing instead of running. Just as soon as they get the ball in this game, just let it rip, man. Because Oakland's not going to pressure Big Ben. Their secondary can't contain what the Steelers can bring offensively at receiver and everything. Just throw the football, get you a big lead, and then worry about running it, and just get Connor healthy and go forward.
Agree. All right, here's the big Sunday night game. The Rams traveling to Soldier Field.
Yeah, man. I hate picking this game without knowing the status of Mitch Trubisky.
Well, I'll tell you then, if he's there or not.
Irregardless,
I'm taking the Rams.
I am too. I just wanted to know. Like, I like. It's funny I said that, but I absolutely think the Rams.
You're doing it for dramatic effect.
Yeah. I just want to know if Trubisky's coming back. I like to watch the kid play. That's part of the reason why I want to know if he's coming back. But I'll take the Rams. I don't think the Bears are on that level yet.
Nope. I agree. And last but certainly not least, Monday night, we have Minnesota traveling to Seattle.
I'm going with Seattle.
I am too. They seem to be really hot right now.
I like the Seahawks, man. I think they're one of those teams that can make their charge into the playoffs, and I don't know what's going to happen when they get in there, because they're definitely not going to get a home field at the first game because they're not winning the division, obviously, because it's already decided.
Yeah. All right.
So they're going to play maybe like someone like the Bears in the first round. And they might beat the Bears. Yeah.
Real quick, Lance wants to know, what do we think of the college football playoff teams, the 4 teams in there?
Well, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so have been for probably 26 years now. Maybe, I don't know. Since I started watching the Eagles, I've liked Notre Dame. So, I Notre Dame went undefeated this year, but there's a couple teams in there like Alabama and Clemson. I think Alabama beats up on Oklahoma because power over their speed, I think, is 100% going to happen. And I think Clemson will beat Notre Dame, but I think that game is a lot closer than the Alabama and Oklahoma game.
I don't buy the Clemson hype because they really haven't played anybody.
Yeah, I mean, but I still think they're just a good,
I don't want to say
well-rounded
they're
team.
bad. It's just I haven't seen them play anyone that you're like, okay, yeah, they're legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but hey, if Notre Dame goes in there and beats them, and they're set up to lose to Alabama again, I guess great.
Well,
I'd rather,
like Lance
I'd
just
rather
said,
them have losing a title game.
At least it's not Ohio State.
But listen, I do agree with you that Clemson hasn't really beaten anybody. They really haven't beaten a stronger team. Notre Dame's beaten the stronger teams. Like Notre Dame made that game against Syracuse look easy, right?
And then they beat somebody else really bad that was ranked at the time. It might have been Stanford.
Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Notre Dame beat up on Stanford in the second half. As a matter of fact, Stanford's quarterback said that they whooped their ass. That was his. His exact quote was, "They whipped our ass."
Real quick, Lance reminded me with Ohio State. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Urban Meyer, he stepped down. One more game.
Good riddance.
Yeah, he's got to get ready for that Cleveland Browns job. He's got to prep for the NFL, man. I don't think that's happening
I would not be shocked.
I would. I think Myers. I think Myers' days are up. To be honest with you.
I was never so happy when I heard that.
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy who's made a lot of fans.
He's just he comes off as a jerk.
And it doesn't help him any that that whole situation with that coach where he probably lied and he
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's just say his character isn't 100%.
Yeah. Lance is saying real quick that he thinks they should go to a 6-team playoff.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind that.
And then have the top 2 get a bye.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it solves a lot of problems because it seems like you always have 6 teams that probably
worthy.
Yeah, and then that 7th team is usually always an undefeated bad conference team like UCF.
Yeah.
So who cares about them? I hate to say it like that. No, I agree because right now you would have Clemson and Alabama with the byes, right?
Yeah.
And then you would have Notre Dame playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because I think they finished behind Georgia, right? And then you would have Oklahoma playing Georgia. And it would also end the bullshit where people were thinking, like, maybe Georgia should have still got in because they lost to Alabama. And,
blah, blah.
It would end that. I agree. And I think what it also could do is it also would stop you from having a lot more meaningless bowl games prior because you would get another week of good bowl games, Like you would get those 4 teams playing each other on the 22nd, and then the winners would play Alabama and Clemson on the 29th, and then 10 days later, or however they do it now, or 9 days later, whatever, you would have them playing for the national title the day after the NFL season ends.
Yeah,
and I think
like that
would be perfect. That gives you 3 really good week basically of college football, and it gives you another big meaningful week end of bowl games. Call them bowl games. I don't care. There's no, like they're the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl, but they're also part of the playoffs.
I agree.
Which I think it's a great idea. I think that they expanded and made the playoffs, which was a good start. And now I think they need to start actually talking at becoming, progressing it to become even better and even more enjoyable for fans and even more money making for college football.
Yeah, because if you do 6, then you're going to get more money. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're gonna have 2 big games that are a lot more meaningful. Look, bowl games in a way don't mean much. I'll be honest with you. Who cares about the Heritage whatever bowl or the throw a bowl out there? That's a weird name. I can't think of any right now. I don't know, the
Poinsettia Bowl.
Yeah, the Poinsettia Bowl or the GoDaddy Web Bowl or whatever. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Do we have a minute here?
Good.
Can I look up some of the bowl names? Do you mind if we extend for
like nothing to do?
Me either, for like a few minutes. I mean, we got people here. We're talking about something. I mean, these players are going to be in the NFL next year, so we might as well.
They have the Aloha Bowl.
Well, I think the Aloha Bowl is a good one because that gives the 2 teams a trip to Hawaii and stuff. They kind of get like wine and dine.
It's just like a funny name.
Oh, I don't want to say that, by the way. Wine and dine is terrible because that's college football players aren't really exactly supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Where the hell are the bowls? The Camping World Stadium, whatever. No, that's not a bowl.
Oh yeah, Lance says the Roto-Rooter Toilet Bowl.
Yeah, that's the bowl Ohio State should play in every year. Let me see if I can find them. Let me just Google college football bowls. I guess would be what I want, right?
Yeah.
I'll probably end up getting bowls with college football logos on them that I can buy from my house. Here we go. Is this it? Please tell me this is it because I'm tired of searching. All right, yeah, here we go. We have the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, and the Peach Bowl are all power bowls.
Here, I got one for you.
The Tax Slayer Bowl.
Here's a better one.
Shoot.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl. Man, I like Cheez-Its, though. I mean, I'm a fat guy. I might have to watch that one just so I can see Cheez-Its all the time.
And here's another one that made me laugh. The
Red Box Bowl? The Red Box Bowl.
Yeah, okay. No, this one just because I don't know what it is. The Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah, I see that in Tampa, Florida. It's Marshall against South Florida. The Dollar General Bowl? Dollar General has enough money to buy a bowl game? The Cure Auto Insurance Bowl. Like, now we got to see those shitty face emoji commercials during that bowl.
Yeah.
The Belk Bowl. There's just one called the Arizona Bowl.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
What is going on in this college football world? Like, next thing you know, we're gonna get like the let me think of a company, man. Like just
the
a
Aldi
shitty
Bowl.
The Aldi Bowl, the perfect. Or no, it'll be bigger even now. The Lidl Bowl because they're like. We're going to get the Tampax Bowl next year in the Summer's Eve Bowl.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what a douche of a game.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to get out of here for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, give it a thumbs up, all that stuff, and we'll see you back next time. Have a good day, everybody.